Let's get this Wally Popper a Brighton. What are we doing today? Hello, and by the way, I've got this kit, and I need to go over it and the instructions that came with it. Well, here, take a look for yourself. Let me turn that around for you so it's easier to see. And I do not read Chinese, and also the diagram and the schematic, well, correct and definitely descriptive of what we're putting together here, is definitely misleading at best. Luckily, however, well, first of all, I bought this on eBay, super cheap. Well, it's mostly complete. I think what they do is they give you thankfully all of the critical components for the actual functioning portion of the circuit board. But if you can see on the sides, there are rows, and all of those rows are sort of the non-functional parts of this circuit board. And that is the actual practice, what you're supposed to start with, going from, you're seeing this upside down, so left to right, but what you're seeing right to left. And it starts from the larger size and decreases all the way to the smaller-ish size, not the smallest. Anyways, so I think it's 4 different sizes to practice with, and that's what I'm going to try to do, I think, and just knock them all out if you want to know the truth. I think I'm going to try to populate this entire board in the stream. Well, I mean, that's my goal. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to do that or not, but that's the goal for right now. That goal may change as the minutes and hours go by. So they gave me, however, like just a bunch of other crap too. So what I did is try to do some searching a few weeks ago when I wanted to put this kit together, and I discovered, no, I'm not finding anything that's helping. And then, lo and behold, Amazon. I searched for this kit on Amazon, and I found the PDF, which has instructions in English. And they're really good instructions, so what I was able to do is I was able to figure out at least what the functioning portion of the circuit needs to be populated with. And it runs on 3 to 12 volts, which makes sense because it's using a 555 chip, an NE 555, and a CD4017. So that's the CMOS logic gate, which can run up to 12 volts. And I'm still trying to understand why it's not desirable, why all digital runs on 5 volts, but I'll figure that out one of these days, or I will learn that one of these days. Okay, so what I thought I would do is, and this little decade counter chip right here, the 16-pin one, it did have a bent pin, but I fixed it, I think. Otherwise, it's fine. I'm going to put that away, and here's a little 555 timer. And as you may or may not know, the 555 is probably my favorite chip. It's way cool. So this board holder is absolutely amazing. I'm going to go ahead and take the board off for a second and just kind of set this aside. Because what I want to do is I want to clean PCB real quick. Oh my goodness gracious, yeah, that's a huge difference. That should be plenty. Okay, so what we have here is the first column is resistors that are sized at 1206. Next to it are capacitors sized at 805, and then resistors at 805. Now here's the thing, they didn't give me any capacitors in the non-working portion of the circuit. I have the necessary capacitors for the working portion of the circuit, so that's okay. And then over here we've got 603 for resistors and capacitors, and then finally 0402, and it doesn't really say if they are resistors or capacitors. Now I definitely could probably figure that out by looking at the BOM, instructions, yada yada yada. But here's the thing, they didn't give me any capacitors to play with regarding that. They only gave me resistors. All of these right here I've determined are the components for the test portion of the circuit, or the PCB, I mean. And this tray are all of the working components. and they give you like a lot of extras because I guess that's just the nature with SMD. It depends on what it is. For some of the fancier ones, you only get one of or you only get like if there's four in the circuit, you get four, no more. Now I'm missing, however, some LEDs, but that's okay. I've got plenty of LEDs that are this size, thankfully. I went ahead and I replaced the lens, the Barlow lens on my microscope. So you may notice already that we are zoomed in. Okay? All right, I need more slack on the solder. I've been thinking about getting a spooler. I don't have one, by the way. And yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt not having one, but it's not that bad. I figure I should just focus on doing one set at a time. All right, one more, and I'm going to clean the iron. Alrighty. And I'm going to go ahead and use my cheap flux just for the purpose of getting the tweezers kind of sticky so I can grab this little guy. Whoa, no, see, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And this is where it might be better just to go ahead and have my flux ready to go. Yeah, I don't think I need to use the cheap flux for this. Because what I can do is just lay a strip all the way down that column right there. So I pull the syringe back so that the stuff doesn't like leak out. There we go. Okay, this should be a piece of cake. Now, if I can get a little of this goop here, and this goop, by the way, is magic stuff, then I can use that to grab the next resistor and get it over here without it going out into the ninth dimension. almost had it. It's all easier said than done. All right, I'm going to have to put the iron away. This is rough because well, as you can see, once the flux has got hold of it, it's a-okay. Almost. There you go. I really should move the camera, but we're here. All right, so now this part shouldn't be too bad. I'm going to see if I can just solder away without holding it down with something else because I don't got 3 hands. We'll find out though. So the trick to this I found by and large is to get the solder where you want it to go first. You can almost see me in the reflection of that. It's awesome. Yeah, we're fine. I will say though, like dropping down a little bit of flux might make things look a little better, but this solder is super, super thin, and it's got a lot of flux in it already. What I do need to do, however, is clean the tip. That helps when the solder doesn't want to really, like that one didn't want to take too well, and I can fix that up with a little bit of flux at this point. Oh no, this is megabytes. It seems fine to me, right? I mean, I don't. I mean, oh look at that one. We missed one. I need to get my eyes re-examined. 1.2 K. I've actually thought about being an electrician, which is like the construction job person who handles home electricity and corporate electricity. That's a much different job. It's got a lot of different demands. The problem with being an electrical engineer is that it's kind of like you need to be in China. I don't want to be in China. But I think what I'm going to do is just do AV work instead. However, it really would be cool to be like the house electrician at like a big venue. That would be awesome. And the only way to do that is to first become an electrician. It's really interesting because like at AV events, I need to clean the tip. At corporate gigs and whatnot, the convention centers and so forth, like you'll see a lot of different people, and some of them are part of a like a staffing company, and they're more of your unskilled labor, but unskilled in a way that has the opportunity to become skilled. That's the cool part. Like if you work at a fast food restaurant, the only skills you're going to get are like managerial and bookkeeping type kind of stuff, which are great skills to have, but it's you're not going to get technical stuff. But what's interesting is every so often you'll see the house electricians. And I don't know, maybe it's not that awesome of a gig to have. It depends on your personality, I think, because it seems to me like it's the kind of job where you don't really do a whole lot. But when you do something, it's very, very important. So I don't know. I kind of like to stay busy, but in a way where people don't yell and scream at me. A lot of these clients, I don't know I really don't know what their problem is. If they're narcissists, psychopaths, whatever they are, but they're just by and large, they tend to be very rude people. And you just got to deal with them. And when I got out of that and got into computer science stuff, namely website development, there were a handful of people like that, but nowhere near as many. And now I feel like in that field of web development, it's just nothing but those kinds of people. So I don't know. I think I'm ready to get back into the AV world again. And I'm in a good area for it. I'm in the Nashville area, so there's plenty of opportunity here for that. And you see I'm running out of flux there, or the iron is getting too burnt out. I'm just going to play this by ear because what they did is instead of giving me capacitors, they just gave me like double the amount of, well, you can't see it there really. They gave me like double the amount of resistors. Rush used to be my all-time favorite band. But before Rush was my all-time favorite band, Pink Floyd was my all-time favorite band. But before they were my all-time favorite band, it was somebody else. Well, it could have been Boston or Styx. Could have been Jackson Browne or Billy Idol. Excuse me, not Billy Idol. Billy Joel. What's the difference, really? I know Billy Idol, Billy Joel, they're both Billy. And I just kind of like to think of it as like it's the same person. But Styx and Boston, not the same band. Not the same band at all. Kansas and Boston, that's the same band because Boston used to be in Kansas before they moved it to Massachusetts. You didn't think I knew history. You're wrong. Okay. Now, once again, we're going to try to goop the tweezers. And as you can see, I'm not even, grabbing the component yet. Now, this is the size we're going to be working with most of the time, I think. Also need to clean this tip. There you are. And I think breadboarding is great. I'm definitely a person who encourages breadboarding. And I understand, you know, breadboards are not perfect. And they got all kinds of troubles, but you know, and it really just depends. I mean, if you're really, really good at designing PCBs and having them manufactured, you know, and then go for it, of course. The breadboarding is very quick, and using regular proto board can be a very quick way to get prototypes up as well. And I love using proto boards for my projects because, like, whoops, that's a weird feeling right there. There you go. Because they are 100% DIY. I never see a reason to ever sell gear unless you just flat out don't have the room for it anymore. You know, you can't literally store it anywhere without just, you know, you don't want to pay the money that it takes to have to store it. Otherwise, I say keep it. Oh, I'm forgetting to push down. Go back over these two. Because I do feel it pushing down when I do that. Okay, that one was good. Whoa, there we go. You stay. That thing snapped down. So again, I'm just getting some of that goop on the end of my tweezers so that I can more easily get this onto the board, because this is the hardest part really, is dealing with these tiny little guys. Okay, but so even though there are quite a bit of people, right, that are into this, man, most of the people that you actually find that are like on YouTube, they really have no desire to learn anything electronics. And you know, okay, like I don't agree with that. I understand that electronics is daunting and hard. It took me a long time to understand electronics, and I still only understand, you know, very little. But I've always had a desire to understand it. That was the thing. You know, it's not like I'm afraid of finding out that how I thought things worked is wrong. Like that has never bothered me. In fact, that's the whole goal, is to figure out what it is that, you know, how it works. And there was only really like just a few things that were holding me back. And I could have gone forward without knowing these things, but that was all kind of part of it, though. It was like the way that I am lost right now. Here we are. Is the way I was approaching everything, let me clean this off too, was really ultimately what was holding me back. But I didn't understand how to ask the questions that I really wanted to ask. By and large, that's really, I think, the problem. Hardware jamming. Had I not gotten into hardware jamming, it would not have driven me hard enough to finally just say, man, that's it, man. I am learning this stuff. Again, I don't know why I'm doing this the hard way, but whatever. We'll come back up. Then I would be sort of in the dark about electronics. But I've always been into soldering. Voila. Or as they say in the arts, viola. All right. Well, I just saw today that John Wick 4 is on the way. And I got to say, I normally don't really care about such things, but I am actually looking forward to this movie. The Matrix 4 was terrible. I'm sorry if you liked it. I don't know many people that do. Whoa. Yeah, this is where things get really interesting at this size. I think it's already down all the way. There we go. And remember, this is my right hand. I'm left-handed. Whoa. This is the annoying part right here, though. Now getting it to, there you go. Now that it's flat, I can kind of reposition it. There you go. Alrighty. But yeah, John Wick. Now it's crazy violent, and the action scenes really kind of just go on forever. So I mean, it's not like I'm not the hugest action fan, if you want to know the truth. Really, if anything, what I'm looking forward to is the second part to Dune, and I'd be okay if they turn it into a trilogy. So we didn't see the Emperor in the first part, and nobody knew, like the actor was not announced, and it's Christopher Walken, the Falcon's girlfriend, and they were in trouble. With Christopher Walken was like threatening to kill them. They were kind of hostage, but it was also their fault. They tried to rip him off, and I'll leave it at that. But I doubt there's any available video performance to even ever see this. I don't know that it was ever. It had to have been videotaped. Like somebody in the production, surely, for their own, preservation. Okay, so the trick here is to not push down with too much force, just a little bit of force, and the resistor won't go flying so much. But I didn't really. That's the only play that I saw when I was living in New York. I'm not a play person. Like I'm not a big Shakespeare fan. I appreciate Shakespeare and all that stuff, but I'm not really into plays. I am into, however, I'm into Akira Kurosawa movies, and I like his Shakespeare adaptations. Really, I like any Shakespeare adaptation on film, as long as it's just not just a play, right? It's so easy to just film the play. I like when people try to actually do something with the medium that's different, because otherwise you might as well just have a play. By the way, this tip, somebody needs to tell Sid Heresy to consider using a tip like this if he's not already. I don't think he is. I think he's using the more just generic standard one, the one that I typically use with through hole stuff. Now, do I got 3 left? Because whoa. Well, that one went flying into the 9th dimension apparently. One of the coolest things that living in New York City does to you is it makes you very, very unconcerned about sirens. That, I think, is an ambulance, and I think it's on the way to the patient. Could be wrong, though. Definitely went through the major intersection over here nearby me. That was the crazy flashing of the siren. You'd be like, hey, dumb butts, don't come through here now. Pay attention. Get off your cell phones. Look at the road. Holy crap, people are so idiotic. Okay. Whoa. Let's try that again. Can you imagine trying to do this without the flux? It's crazy. By the way, I got this flux from Sid Heresy. And it's some Amtech. I'm not sure if he got it from Louis Rossman or from Northridge Fix, but wherever, it's the good stuff. This one's being really problematic on me. And I definitely can tell the quality in this between like this and the Radio Shack flux that I have. The Radio Shack flux that I have is like nasty tree rosin compared to this. But I mean, it's good too, but I use it for, larger work, of course. It's good for working with connectors. Like sometimes getting just a little bit of flux on there will really help. And that kind of stuff I tend to work with higher heat too, because it's all kind of passive components. And as long as you're not burning like the plastic and insulation, it's like you really are better off with a higher heat, because that stuff takes a while to heat up. You're dealing with a larger surface area. I'm also going to start working with a different tip when I work with that kind of stuff too. It's a chunky tip. Now, I am unfortunately starting to get a little fatigued. I can feel it. But I think I can get this last row. I don't feel like I'm making good contact with the board there. Working on my angle. I am getting tired though. I hope I can do this last one. If the first few ones start like giving me a lot of problems, I'm just gonna call it, because I am losing my motor skills. Is what they kind of start to go a little bit. You get a little numb. Man, these. And I don't even think this is the smallest size, right? Isn't there like a couple more sizes smaller than this? It's insane. Like when you see them, you actually think that. Like when I first saw those tiny capacitors on a ribbon cable, I didn't. I don't know what I thought they were, but then I looked real carefully and said, "Oh my God, those are capacitors." I was thinking how cool it would be to get like a battery on the back of this because it only needs 3 volts to operate. I don't think I lost any. I kind of dropped some, but we're okay. Let me get some flux here. I guess I'm going for it. Wish me luck. Like, how do you even know what that value is? This is pretty easy, actually. Ha ha. Wow. Do I want to risk trying to push this, make sure that it's flat? Woohoo! All right. Now, for some reason, I've got Mob Rules by Black Sabbath going in my head. Don't ask me why. Okay, now I've got Don't Ask Me Why by Billy Joel going in my. Whoa. Whoa, that was not cool. Okay, I was just solder, but I felt like okay, we're cool. I felt like I ripped a pad just then accidentally. I was like, what did I do? Whoa, you stick now. I was like, what did I do to deserve that? Okay, this is starting to be weird on me. Yeah, what's going on here? This is really bizarre. Very bizarre. can't see. See, now it's stuck. There we go. I think what happened is why that one was not working too well is it, see look at all this that paint, that silk screen and stuff. I think that got kind of mixed in with the solder and it didn't burn out. I mean, I don't know. It's just a total educated guess on that one, but it felt like the solder had become impure and it wasn't able to actually do its job anymore. Really weird. So clean the area, kind of start over a little bit. Ah, that's what I did wrong. I see now. You gotta be very careful not to use the soldering iron to scoosh the component. It's a temptation because you think that everything's hot, and but what will end up happening is that it will uh, take pieces of the silk screen up with it if you do that, and that got mixed in with the solder, and then the solder wouldn't bond anymore. I think that's what happened because I almost made the same mistake that time. So I was like, well, what is it that I'm doing? Because I never even came close to making that mistake working with the other sized components. Oh yeah. All right, just four more to go. I've also thought about I did a little bit of research into looking into getting some hot tweezers, but I have no idea which brand to buy, and I find it's weird. Like Alex hasn't talked about getting some into the store, and I don't have to just use what he sells, right? I mean, like there's a few things where he sells them, and I've gotten them on Amazon instead because they're just a little bit cheaper. But looking at Amazon, like I don't know, man. Like all the reviews are so mixed for hot air tweezers. And the good thing about Alex's shop is that he really only sells what he uses. He may have a few things that he doesn't use anymore that's on like for sale, but he definitely used it at one point and found it to be beneficial. So to me, it'd be worth it to wait until he sells his recommended model and brand of hot air of hot tweezers. Definitely, if I held this down though for a length of time, I think it would cause the heat to go through to the other side and melt that solder. And this is the good thing about having this flux on the board right now is it helps the solder to just the solder that's on the tip to just go right to where it needs to go. These would definitely look better reflowed with hot air, no doubt about it. All right, let's get this board clean. Oh yeah, that is like so much more satisfying to brush than through hole. Unbelievable. Yeah, this makes all the difference in the world. Who was it, like somebody came into Sid's stream and they were like, "You're just drowning in flux. Oh my God, I can't believe how much flux you're using." Oh. And I don't. What they probably failed to see, stick around and watch, was Sid cleaning the board off and how easy it is to clean using this technique. Getting evil on this thing. All right. And those fibers that are left will mostly just kind of fall off by the wayside. Wow, I can't believe that I did that. Okay, let's get the hell out of here. Let's go raid somebody. Let me wash my hands first.